Peace, peace. Hotep Vyasa, Hotep Omar. Peace to the brothers. Peace to everybody watching. All 4 million of y'all. Peace. Throwback Thursday. Late night Throwback Thursdays. Throwback Thursday. Matter of fact, let me push this link in here. Put the link in early. Early. Peace. This your brother Wujao. Coming again live, late night, 11 p.m. on the East Coast. Sundiata. Moyo. Hotep. Peace to you. Yeah, so today is Thursday, and it's late though, but Throwback Thursday. Hotep Kofi Paisa TV. Hotep Abet. Hotep family. Yeah, Throwback Thursday. We just throwing it back. Throwing a few of them back. Let's throw a few back. That's what they say. Throw a few of them back. Just want to cover a couple of things, and feel free. Listen, today is Throwback Thursday. Just want to kind of just chill out a bit. Late. See who's up. People tend to be up late these days. East Coast, Central, West Coast, whatever. And just want to chill out. So just want to have a bit of conversation. Matter of fact, let's just since it's Throwback Thursday, I'm gonna start things off with a freestyle. So it's not Friday. We have Freestyle Fridays, but let's start off with a freestyle. Peace to the brother Robert Inyame. Omar already said Hotep. Yeah, so click the link if you want to come on the panel. You're not obligated to speak. If you want to just come on the panel, hang out. We can get up to 100 people on the panel. So, if you want to just hear everything in real time, because there's a delay. And, I like interaction. And so this Zoom YouTube combination has a latency. And so it's a little awkward to have that interaction, because I have to ask a question. Then I have to wait for you all to hear it and then respond. So even right now, what I'm saying right now, you all going to hear it maybe 15 seconds later, 15, 20 seconds later. So that gets a bit weird. So click the link. Come on and have a good time. We're gonna do some freestyling, P-Funk All-Star freestyles. Boy, don't bring up P-Funk around me. I am a funketeer. I've been a funketeer, man, since funk been tearing. Don't bring up P-Funk. Yeah, so click the link. Go through some exercises. See what you all know, don't know. See if y'all been paying attention. All right, click the link. If not, I'm gonna go through a freestyle, even if I am by myself. All right, let's see. So I'm gonna share my screen. Now, this image is an image that the sister Mika, who frequents the panel and in the chat, she had posted. And so I'm going to just pull it in. We're going to do some old school freestyling. And here you go. Y'all should be able to see it. See, like I said, it's 20 seconds later. Peace, Tiarica. Let me post that link one more time, though, just in case y'all didn't catch it. There it is again. I encourage people to click the link, come on the panel. I would like to see everybody who's in the chat come on the panel. Like I said, we get 100 people up in here. All right, let's go through some lessons. Y'all want to learn something tonight? Quick late night snack, learning snack. That's what we're gonna call it. Some snacks. So we are about to freestyle. All right. So anyway, this image right here, hope you all can see it. All right. So obviously, this is an image anybody will recognize. This is related to ancient Egypt, ancient Egyptians. And for some of you, you may have been studying this so long and proficient at it that you can look at it and pretty much tell what time frame that this image is from. See, when you get to that point, you know, you're doing something. You're doing something. You can see the figures and how their the artistic style and everything. You're like, wait a minute, this is the Middle Kingdom. This is around the 11th dynasty, 12th dynasty. Or it's the Late Kingdom, Old Kingdom. See, you start to get that. Now I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm just gonna ask a question. So, just by looking at this, and this is for whoever may know the answer, is this the Late Kingdom? All right, we got somebody that popped in. Peace to Tiarka Curry. Hotep.
Peace. I'm learning. I'm sitting back listening.
All right. So my question, and like I said, it gets a little weird when I try to get interaction, this delay. But is this piece that you're looking at from the Late Kingdom? This is just anyone. All right, Robert Rand, shout out the first answer. Old Kingdom, 5th Dynasty. Okay, wow, he got real narrow. He didn't just say Old Kingdom. He said the specific dynasty, 5th Dynasty. Okay, what? See, that's what I'm saying. It's awkward to interact because I want to ask you follow-up questions. I'm gonna say, why you picked the 5th Dynasty? What about it make you say the 5th Dynasty, or just the Old Kingdom? What about it? What about it makes you say the Old Kingdom? Yeah, just want to know. Just want to know. So we're gonna see. See, there's a silence, and I don't like silence. All right, I'm gonna keep going in. So again, peace. Anybody who's tuned in just now, this is your brother Wujao. I think we have the brother Tiarka on the panel. We have Sonet Imiket on the panel. And we're just going to have a nice chilled out discussion, learning, going to learn something, share something, maybe even argue something. Don't know. Well, when Tiarka on the panel, boy, now let me stop. I'm just messing. All right.
So don't go in on me, bro.
All right. So yeah, Robert Rand, that's real good. See, Robert Rand is on point. Old Kingdom. Very, very good. All right, so that's one. And it's not the New Kingdom because New Kingdom, you can tell by the glyphs themselves. Just as a side note, when you're looking at the hieroglyphs, the Old Kingdom, the Late Kingdom, the Ptolemaic era more specifically, during the Ptolemaic era, there were new hieroglyphs added to the inventory of glyphs. So if you don't know, from the Old Kingdom up until the Ptolemaic era, there were roughly 1,000 glyphs. And depending on which books you read, you'll see between 750 to 1,000. So that's the range. But then when the Ptolemaic era comes in, and during the Ptolemaic era, a lot more glyphs were introduced into the writing system. And so it actually got up close to reportedly around 7,000 glyphs. So imagine that, like in English, our writing system, we use the Latin orthography, and we only have 26 characters. And people have a hard time with 26 characters on how to spell words. We constantly misspelling. We got Grammarly, we got spell check, built-in spell check and everything. But imagine if if our writing system had 7,000 possible characters. Imagine that. That's crazy. Now Chinese, I forget the name of the script, but the script that they use to write Chinese, is very, very close to that. They've done something in the past to narrow that down, but that script does have a large inventory as well. All right. So anyway, let's get into this one. So this is an image. Let me get over here to my cursor. Y'all can see my cursor. I can put on my trusty arrow here. So we see two figures. Well, there's a lot going on here, but some of it is not painted, or the paint has been lost. The coloration has been lost on here. So all in here, there are things going on, and I'm sure probably on your screen on YouTube, you can't really see the details of what's going on. But what we're going to pay attention to is the text here in these two rows. Okay, these two rows here at the bottom. But just to point out a few things, so we have a figure seated in a chair facing to the left over here, and then we have another figure over here on the left facing to the right. All right, then we have four figures in between them in the bottom. Now, what some people do, and I've seen it on many websites, that they will look at the size differences between these figures here and these larger figures seated in the chairs, and then assume that these two figures are giants, and that either these two figures are normal size and these people are very, very, very small, or these people are normal size and these people are very, very, very big. And I've actually seen people who interpret this that way, and they think that that's how the Egyptians were able to build the temples and the large columns and the obelisk and the pyramids, because they were actually literally giants. And they just bench pressing these 2-ton granite blocks and limestone blocks and everything. They're just carrying them and doing curls and doing leg curls, arm curls, traps with blocks. Like, there's people that actually believe that, and Google it. You'll find websites that will actually interpret it that way. So us over here, I don't want anybody to leave here thinking that. So that's just not true. Don't believe it. Don't believe that hype. Definitely. I can definitely tell you that's not true. What this actually is, when you see the different sizes of figures, is the Egyptian standard canonized way of pointing out value, visual value. It's a visual value system, meaning that which is important or what you should pay attention to in a hierarchy is bigger than other things. All right. So in other words, prominency. So if there's a figure in a scene that's bigger than the rest of the figures, then that person or that figure in the scene is the prominent one. That's either what the scene is about, or whatever text is accompanying the scene. That's what the text is pertaining to, that particular person. All right. So having said that, this text down here is pertaining to these two individuals. All right. Not these four. It's just that simple. All right. So don't let anybody tell you that these are giants in the earth, and the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and then giants were born in the earth, Genesis chapter 6, and they're going to start quoting the Bible on you and everything, and use this as the example and everything. All right. So don't let that happen. All right. So before we get into the glyphs, again, the link to the panel is pinned in the chat. So come in the chat if you want to participate. Like I said, there's a delay that makes this volley a little awkward. All right. So I want to encourage everybody to get used to coming in on the panel. All right. This is Zoom. Zoom is free. Zoom app is free. You don't have to have your camera on or any of that. Just, as long as you can hear, and hopefully you have some kind of microphone device. All right. You can come on your phone, click it on your phone. It'll pull you right in here. All right. So, any words from you, Emiket?
Oh, no, not so much. I was just gonna say that you shouldn't have used the word freestyle in the beginning because now you scared everybody. I know the only person who would have been dying to run on the panel is Donnie, but you should have let everybody come on the panel first and then let them know it's go freestyle. But that's it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what this is, especially since it came from Mika. I don't see Mika. But it's interesting, and there's some interesting stuff that I just already kind of seen while you were talking.
All right. So, all right, but what you're saying though is I let the cat out the bag a little too early. I done chase everybody away by saying freestyle.
Precisely.
All right. Well, let's rewind. This is not going to be a freestyle. This is going to be some drama, knock 'em up, sock 'em up, drama. We about to start talking about somebody and everything like that. How's that? Am I doing better? Is that better?
Yeah, see, we get numbers already. See, we got a new I'm just joking. Welcome. I know you are coming in either way.
So I should title this differently. Some kind of drama. Say, put name drop somebody. Start kicking up some drama. Talk about somebody. Create an argument, and all that good stuff first. That's how we do that. That's how I should have done it.
Yeah, just name drop. What's the person in the conscious community whose name is floating around lately, and then throw in the word Kemet in there, and you got a good mix. We could have been like 2,000 viewers more, like right now.
I should have said Kemet on trial or Hoteppers beware. Yeah. All right. I learned my lesson. I'm gonna do that next time.
Blackologies get what is it called? Demolished. People get demolished or get so there's these words that people like to use on these titles that is just crazy.
Oh, I should have titled it Ancient Egyptians Are White. That would have been good. The ancient Egyptians were white. That would have got everybody's attention.
Yeah, that's crazy. Because yeah.
Or the God Best on trial.
The God Best on trial. Boy. Yeah. That's crazy. All right, enough of that. So we're gonna get it in for a bit. Like I said, this is Throwback Thursday. Welcome to the Sesh Medew Netcher YouTube channel. On this channel, listen, we have videos in the archive that's going all the way back to 2015. All right, so check the videos out. There's a lot of information that we've covered, and we'll probably do recaps of those old videos. Just go live and kind of revisit older videos, because a lot of information that we've already covered, it comes up every now and then, and people may not know that we've covered it before. And understandably, because we're not out there pimping our channel by kicking up drama and being part of the circus. So a lot of people may not be aware of the things that we've talked about and the things we do, because the attraction is into the drama and the noise and all that stuff. And we don't really, over here, we don't do that. And so if you see something that you think other people are interested in, just share it. But definitely check out the archive. And we, like I said, we may revisit a lot of those videos from the archives. But today is for Throwback Thursday, and we're going to get into this one. All right, so let's go ahead and move forward. All right, so Robert Rand is absolutely correct. This is an Old Kingdom tomb. And pretty much what gives it away, one, it's not the late period because of, like I said, the inventory of glyphs. These glyphs here are not a representation of the late kingdom, the late period. All right, you will see different style of these glyphs and many other glyphs themselves. Two, what gives it away is the nature in which these figures are carved. You know, in the Old Kingdom, one of the hints that you will notice as you start to look more and more different arts at different time period, the Old Kingdom is famously known for the bulkiness of human figures. So like the shin of the leg, like the leg is like brolic. Like it looked like he could kick the heck out of a football. The arms, it's like a little bit slightly disproportionate to what we're used to. And that's typical of Old Kingdom. Like the arms are a little longer than normal. Everything is a little bit more broad, like broad shoulders. The legs are like more block. It's more blocky. All right. And so that's a giveaway. And even the glyphs themselves as well. All right. The glyphs are like more pronounced and blocky. All right. So those are a couple of things that you'll notice from the Old Kingdom. The Middle Kingdom is nice, is a nice sweet spot. We have these nice intricate glyphs. Figures are drawn a little bit more slim and a little bit more curves and things are in those in that period of time. All right, so just as an FYI. Okay, so again, these are not giants and these are not little people, or these are not regular people, or these are not regular people and these are not little small minions. This is an example of importance. So the text is what we're going to follow. So here's the first question. When you're doing transliterations and translations, we've gone over this many times. There is a standard 4-step process to this whole process. So Emiket, if you don't mind, if you could just give us a quick rundown of those 4 steps on how we do this.
Okay, so there are 4 steps to translating and transliterating Sesh, Medew, Netcher. And the first step is we determine the direction in which to read the signs or the glyphs. And usually we say directions, but we're talking about direction and orientation. And then the second step is we group them. No, we don't group. We look. We identify and document each sign in the glyph list. And then the third step is we group them into words. And then we look for the words in the dictionary. And then the fourth and the last step is we come up with a sensible translation.
All right. So while you were speaking, I'm not sure if everyone could see the screen, my screen, but I have it on the screen. So let me spotlight this for everybody. All right. So I have it on the screen, the 4 steps. So if this is your first time checking us out on the channel and whatnot, then, first of all, appreciate it. And then second, make sure you subscribe and everything so you don't miss a beat. But if this is your first time, then take a screenshot of this or contact us, any one of us, and we'll make sure we give you this. But this is the 4 steps to this process. There is no getting around this. I don't care who you are, even if you were an ancient Egyptian who happened to time travel up here into the present day. No matter what, you will always go through these 4 steps. All right. It's just that if you were native, this was your native language and writing system and everything, you would just do it a whole lot faster. All right. Just like how we read English. But these are the 4 steps. All right. So step 1 is observation. Step 2 is data collection. Step 3 is pattern recognition. And step 4 is to apply the grammar. All right. And Emiket already broke that down. Okay. So those are the steps. So now we're going to get back to our image. All right. So here we are. So step 1 is to identify the directions in which the glyphs are to be read. Okay. So I'm not sure who's on the panel, but let's open this up for the panel to answer that question. So which direction should these glyphs, and we're only dealing with these 2 sets here. Which direction should we read these glyphs? Anybody?
I would say left to right. I'm guessing. So, but I would say left to right.
Okay, so we're gonna pin that. So Tiaka says left to right. I want to hear from somebody else.
Some of them are right to left at the top. The top one is right to left. And then the bottom, it's weird because the bottom, it goes from the middle, it goes left. It goes it goes right to left. Then the bottom goes left to right on the other side. It looks like because there's two M's. You see the two owls at the bottom in between, like I think that's a H. Well, no, that's not. No, it's not. That's something that's the per eye. And then there's the owl on one side, and it goes left to right, and the other one goes right to left. So,
Okay, all right, excellent. That was absolutely correct. So you're correct. So when we're determining the direction, as Emiket said, there's two things that you're figuring out at once. You're figuring out the direction and the orientation. And the way that some people teach it is they'll tell you that it's 4 directions. And in my experience of teaching, that's confusing to people because it's not really 4 directions. It's really just 2 directions and 2 orientations. So that's how I explain it. And, people pick up on it a lot faster. So the 2 orientations is either rows or columns. So this is easy. Both sets of these glyphs we're looking at 2 rows. So that's the answer there, 2 rows. But what direction now? And it's only 2 possible directions, either left to right or right to left. So it's in rows. And as you said, this top one is from right to left. So we're going to read this direction into the glyphs going this way. And in the second row, you were correct again. We refer to this as a symmetrical text, meaning that the middle glyph splits the glyphs and it mirrors each other. And they normally would do this above doorways. And if I were to slide this image up, you would see that this is a doorway here. All right. So they would normally do this in the middle of a doorway, such as this one. All right. So this is a doorway. And this is symmetrical because they put a glyph in the middle that applies to both sides. And both sides usually are very close. If not identical, they're very close to each other. So as you said, there's 2 owls. You see these 3 glyphs here. You see the same 3 glyphs over here. You see the sedge plant over here. You see the sedge plant over here. And so you're going to read from the middle, going this direction for the left side. And then on the other side, you're going to read from the middle, going to the right. So now how you know all of this is by one basic rule. And it's a very easy rule to remember. It's the same thing that we do today to have respect when we're talking to anybody right now. You never talk to someone's back of their head or back of their face. You always talk to people face to face, right? So just remember that. If you can remember that, which is what we do, then you should remember that you're going to read into the glyphs as if you're facing them face to face. So these glyphs are faced to the right. Like this bird here, or like let's say this owl. This owl is facing to the right. So you're going to read into it as if you're facing it. So you're going to go this direction. All right. So that's the easiest way to remember that. You're going to read into the glyphs as if you're having a conversation with them. That's a very simple rule and you can't go wrong. All right. Now there's something a little different, which is not on this picture, anywhere in this picture. And I don't want to confuse anyone, so I won't bring it up. But when I show it, I will make sure I make mention of that. But if you understand that rule, what I just said, you can't go wrong. You will never go wrong. All right. Read into the glyphs. Okay. So that's step 1. All right. So step 2, what was step 2 again, Emiket?
So this is where we are identifying the glyphs.
Okay. So step 2, you have to be familiar with the glyphs themselves. Like if you were looking at an English paragraph, like you couldn't even begin to read it if you didn't know what each character was, if you didn't know the alphabet, right? If you didn't know the 26 letters of our alphabet, you're just staring at just look like chicken scratches, right? So step 2 is a data collection step. You have to identify each of these glyphs, which means you have to become familiar with every last one of these glyphs here and know how it can function and how it does function when it's used in these particular text here. Now, because unlike English, we only have 26 characters that's easy to memorize. At a young age, we learn our ABCs to the Twinkle Twinkle Little Star song melody. We learn that very young. But in Sesh Metal Netcher, there are, like I said, there are roughly 1,000 glyphs all the way up to the Ptolemaic era, and then it jumps to 7,000. No one's going to be expecting you to memorize those. All right. So you will definitely need a glyph list that lists all these out, reference list. All right. But the more you read, the more that you do these exercises, the more glyphs that you'll be familiar with without the need of a book. Okay. And then part of freestyling, what we do is we do this without any books. All right. So we could pretty much recognize all of these glyphs depending on how proficient you've become. But you have to identify them all. So let's just identify some of these glyphs here. So let me just see who's on the panel, because as I show my screen, I can't see who's on the panel. Who came up in here? All right, we have Inyame. We have Niwasa Ra, Emiket Tiaka. All right. And people in the chat. Listen, don't be scared. Click the link. I mean, if you chilling out at home, you don't have to have it. None of it. We don't have our cameras or anything like that. Just if you're in bed, sit up. Let's go through a few lessons here. So anybody on the panel, I'm just open up to anybody on the panel. You want to identify any glyphs? Just point me to a glyph. I'll bring my little trusty arrow over to it, and let's discuss it. Anybody?
Let's start from all the way in the right, in the beginning, basically the first row. And then I believe that is a sedge plant.
Yes.
And it is what the fuck? I'm not it's not NY, is it?
Nope. But let me but hold that thought for a second.
Okay.
While you I mean, think about it. I'm gonna buy you some time. So listen, when we say identify the glyphs, these are the things that you need to know about the glyph, not necessarily what it is a image of. And by the way, we have to understand that all of the hieroglyphs, all of the glyphs themselves are pictorial in nature. They are what we consider pictograms, which means that they are pictures of things. And all the things that they are images of are things that were known to the ancient Egyptians. All right. So they were things that are of the natural flora, fauna, and man-made objects that are indigenous to the Nile Valley and its delta. Okay. So I repeat, all these glyphs are images of things that the people were familiar with. You're not going to see a tiger in the glyphs. You're not going to see a polar bear. You're not going to see a woolly mammoth or a dinosaur or none of those things that are in the inventory of these glyphs. Everything that you see are things that are familiar to the ancient Egyptians, indigenous to that area, Northeast Africa. All right. All up and down the Nile. Okay. From the animals, which is the fauna, things that are indigenous or brought to the people. But the bottom line is that they were familiar with these things. So what you have to know about these glyphs is, for instance, the one that you were just bringing up, this sedge plant. What you have to know is, how would you transliterate this glyph? And by transliteration is how would be represented in a transliteration. That's a key. And because you would need that in order to look the words up in dictionaries later on, if you need to. All right. So this first glyph that you pointed out, you corrected. It is a sedge plant. It's good to know what it is, but you also have to know how would you transliterate it. And so you asked if it was an NY, but that's not correct.
Is it SW?
That's correct. Yes,
okay.
SW. So we would transliterate this one glyph as SW. Su. Making it a biliteral. Bi means two. Tri is three. So it's not a triliteral, it's a biliteral. And if any glyph is a triliteral, that means you would need 3 characters to transliterate it. If it's a biliteral, 2. If it's a monoliteral, 1. All right. So we would transliterate this as Su. The sedge represents Su. All right. So anything else? Anybody else?
Yes, there is the conical loaf, and that's the 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5th one. Yes.
You left us hanging. How would you translate?
Sorry, and then the transliteration, that would be DI.
All right, so we got another biliteral, DI. All right. Okay. So anything else? Anybody else?
In between the sedge plant and the conical loaf, there is also at the bottom, there's a T, and then at the top, there's a T.
Okay, what is it? You said that's how you would transliterate it, as a T, but what is it?
Oh, you mean in terms of the picture? Like, what is it?
Yes.
That's also a loaf as well, right?
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. And then in the middle, that's the Hotep symbol, and it is a triliteral. I think in its capital. No, I don't really know. Like,
now go with your first mind, man. Just be proud and wrong. If you're gonna be wrong, be proud.
All right. It's a capital H and a lowercase TP.
That's correct. See, you were correct.
Okay.
You about to shoot yourself down.
Yeah, this is a safe space to be wrong. Like, you can be wrong as you want to be.
Yeah, it's all right. Listen, we got a lot of two left feet people over here. We don't discriminate. So you could be wrong as 2 left feet over here. We'll just correct you though. That's all. So yes, that's Hotep. That's the famous Hotep. So when everybody say Hotepers and Hotep, we say Hotep, ETM, Hotep. That is it right there. And you see it in other places on the thing. Now, as a side note, these texts can be very, very intimidating, because I just said that you have to know all of these glyphs, right? You have to be familiar with all of the glyphs. And this is a very small text. It's only 2 lines, 2 rows. But if you look at a larger piece, people may be intimidated, because they're like, wait a minute, you mean tell me I have to know all of those glyphs? Let me show you. Like this right here. This looks like a lot of glyphs right here. It is. But there are a lot of repeats. Just like English. Okay, English only has 25 characters, right? And if you look at a full sheet of paper, a typed paper, 8.5 by 11, that's full of text, it's just one big paragraph on that sheet of paper, it'll look like a whole lot of characters, but there's only 26, so there's a lot of repeats. So likewise, even though there's roughly 1,000 glyphs in the inventory, when writing an actual text to convey something, you're not going to find a whole lot of glyphs within the text, different glyphs. Okay, so you're going to see a lot of repeats. Like this, an owl, and there's going to be a lot of owls. You see the quail chick. It's going to be a lot of quail chicks. Here you see the folded cloth. You're going to see a lot of folded cloths in here, and so on. Okay, like the mouth. I bet you if we walk down, we see the mouth. We can just go down the rows and just find a whole bunch of mouths. Here's another mouth. A lot of bread loaves. What else? I'm just scanning real quick. So anyway, my point is don't be intimidated by the amount of glyphs, and this is pretty small amount. Okay, so let's keep it going. So you said this was a hotel, yep, and you transliterated it correctly. You said capital HTP, and it's important to make sure you're being case sensitive when transliterating, because there is a manual decodage transliteration system that is case sensitive. So if you were taking a test, or one of my tests, and you were to transliterate this HTP, just regular small HTP, that would be wrong. It's capital HTP because the lowercase h is different than the uppercase. All right. So what else? What else we got? What else?
Let's go with the common one. See the ankh.
Oh, that's cheating. I'm gonna say the unk is cheating. Anybody that mentions the unk, I'm gonna say that's a cop out. That's cheating. Everybody and their mother knows the unk. Even people who don't know about Egypt, even people who hate Egypt know the unk. But tell us, unk, how do you transliterate
it? Okay, so that's a triliteral, and it's ANX.
Okay, ANX. Okay, all right, good. Now, as a side note on that one, right? Because look, we're gonna have to bust up a little bit some myths around here too. Matter of fact, so tonight, listen, y'all tuned in to a nice show because although we're chilling, we're gonna address some of the myths and misinformation that's floating around and has been floating around tonight too. So one being this unk. So Emiket, translate it again.
ANX.
Okay, so this is a triliteral. Everybody knows tri means three. I don't know anybody who has a two-wheel tricycle, all right, or a three-wheel bicycle. If you do, then something's wrong with you. So tri means three. Okay, there are three characters that represents this glyph here, A, N, and X. But how do we commonly spell it out in English?
We usually write it as ANKH.
Yes, ANKH. That's the normal standard way that you see the word unk spelled out. And so what people do is they incorrectly take the way we spell it out in English, ANKH, and they think that this symbol represents 4 characters, but it doesn't. It only represents 3. The X that we're bringing over into English spelling as a K and a H is one sound. There's only 3 sounds in here, 3 consonants, not 4. And so if you read any article, any blog, or you listen to anybody on these platforms, don't let them tell you that the unk stands for 4 different things, because I've heard that people brought that to my attention years ago, and every now and then people bring this up to me. Does the unk represent the Ogdods and the 4 primary primeval forces and this and that? And I tell them no, it cannot, because it's not 4 consonants, it's only 3. All right, we spell it that way in English. Just like, here's another example. Spell, let's see, what's a good word? Somebody on the panel spell the word show, like putting on a show. Spell that. Anybody? Except Emicat. I'm trying to get some participation in here.
SHO.
Yep. Oh, you missing one.
You said shown or show?
Show, like putting on the show.
SHO.
SHOW.
W. SW. I'm sorry. SHOW.
Yeah, man. You gotta wake up now.
Sleep. I'm trying to wake up.
That's what I said. Wake up. Wake up now. Wake up. Okay. But so that's an example, right? But that SH at the beginning of that word is one sound. We use two characters, the S and the H, but it represents a single sound. That same sound is represented only as an S in the word sugar. We spell sugar SUGAR, sugar, but it's the same sound, sh, as in shoe and show, sugar, shoe, show, same sound. Okay, so that's how we dealing with the unk. The unk, that last consonant X is a single sound. So don't let anybody tell you that. So we're gonna correct that. All right. So don't let anybody tell you that. And if you hear it or read it, correct it. All right. Because we're about, when you know better, you do better. That's what we're about over here. Knowing better and doing better. All right. Don't enable misinformation. Correct it. You know what I'm saying? Of course, be very respectful when you correct anybody. All right. So let's get back to it. Okay. Anything else? Anything else? All right. Somebody already called off the M, right? That's a monoliteral. The owl, we transliterate it as M. We see two of those right here. Here's another sedge plant. Here's another owl.
There's the face, hat.
Okay, right here.
And that's uppercase H, R, biliteral.
Okay, nice. All right. Now let's go through another teaching moment. So y'all got to pay attention now. For those who are fairly new to our channel and everything, like I said, these are some quick lessons. So definitely come back to this video and take notes now, but come back to this video because I'm just throwing a few lessons out here. So whenever you come across a glyph that is what we consider a multiliteral, meaning that is anything but a monoliteral. Mono means one. So any glyph that represents two or more consonants, you are usually 9 times out of 10 going to find that glyph accompanied by a monoliteral that is silent and is not transliterated. And we refer to that glyph that does that as a phonetic complement. Okay, a phonetic complement. And so this glyph that we're on, I'm pointing to, is a biliteral. And what I just say, any multiliteral glyph is usually accompanied by a phonetic complement. And a phonetic complement would be a monoliteral. So this mouth here is transliterated as R. It's a monoliteral. But this R is the R in the biliteral HR, capital HR, hair. So this is hair, and this is the phonetic complement. So when we transliterate this combination, we don't transliterate and say capital HR. We just simply say capital HR because this R is the phonetic complement to this one. Okay. So if you did not know that, now you do. And it may take some time to wrap your mind around it, but take that time. All right.
Is it extreme? It's extremely similar to the determinative, right? It's not the same, but it's similar, right?
Very, very similar.
All right.
It's so similar that phonetic complements are can be called determinatives for multiliteral glyphs.
But you would. My bad. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say. I just thought about this. So, but I guess it would be if you're like right now we're reading a phrase or a sentence, and then in determinatives you'd probably find those like in names, or I mean, I guess you could find them in sentences as well, but you wouldn't find a phonetic. I mean, you wouldn't find what is it? What you just described, a phonetic complement, and you wouldn't find that in a name, though, right? That would only be like a determinative in a name. So that's one difference I could think of, right?
And you're right most of the time. Yep, because and the simple reason why names are heavily abbreviated. Okay, so you're not going to find any too many complements within names because names themselves are highly abbreviated because of space. But when it comes to text, other than names, you'll find phonetic complements all over the place. Okay,
So,
so yes,
so we could also call determinatives or classifiers as semantic complements as opposed to phonetic complements.
right. It's backwards. It's a bit of a misnomer because phones mean sound, and this R makes no sound. It's the same R as in the bilateral here, hair. That R of this one is being repeated here, but silent. So when we say phonetic complement, we're actually calling it a misnomer, not us, but Egyptologists when they first named these kinds of glyphs. All right. So that's that. All right. So all right, I don't want to spend all night just picking out some glyphs. So that should be enough glyphs here. So now step 3, what you would normally do is you would first of all you would go through step 2 and identify all of these glyphs. Then what you would do is step 3, you would start to try to recognize patterns for words, and that's necessary only because unlike English, when we write things out in English, we have spaces in between words. And punctuation, we have commas, periods, spaces, and stuff like that. And even we capitalize the first word of a sentence and all that good stuff. But in the Sesh Medew Netcher writing system, none of that exists. There are no spaces between words. So one word is butted up against another one and everything. So you have to get good at recognizing patterns of glyphs that make up these words. And what breaks up one word from another in Sesh Medew Netcher is usually determinatives, which was mentioned a minute ago. Determinatives break up one word from another. Why? Because determinatives usually come at the end of a word. All right. Now, not all words have determinatives, but when they do appear, they're usually at the end of the word. And so it would be wise to become familiar with determinatives so you'll know the difference between one word and the next word, and so on. And once you recognize these patterns, you're able to look these words up in dictionaries to get the meaning. That's when you want to pull the meaning. And then you have a list of meaning for all these words. And that's step 3. You're done. Step 4 is to take all the meanings of the words that you wrote down and then make sense of it by applying grammar and walk away with a sensible translation. So that's all 4 steps. All right. Now, when we freestyle like this and, not take too much time, we're not cracking open any books. So I want to just kind of just go right through this. Okay. So I'm just going to ask at this point, if anybody in the chat want to take a crack at breaking this down, then make sure you click the link, come on in and give it a go. If somebody on the panel already want to do it, the mic is yours.
We're gonna be helping each other, or is it just gonna be one person trying to do it?
No, we'll just veggie back off of each other. So we're gonna start at the beginning, and then you go what you know, and then somebody might be able to fill in the gap of whatever. We're gonna do some teamwork here.
I want to say in the beginning it says Hotep D Nasu, but it doesn't. I don't see it saying that. But I just want to say that's sometimes if an offering formula it starts off like that, but maybe it's like honorific transposition or something. I'm not sure, but I'm thinking it really says Hotep D Nasu, and I just don't see that.
Okay, and you happen to be correct. So again, you shooting yourself down. Um, but you're correct on both things. It does say Hotep D Nasu. Let me just point out the glyphs. So glyph 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these first 5 glyphs is the phrase Hotep D Nasut. Okay.
Where's the my
Mhm.
bad?
Go ahead.
Where's the NY? That's what I see Sue. I don't see NY. I see D. I see Hotep. I don't see the NY. Like, where is the Hotep D? Not like Nasut. Like, where's the N?
Okay, that's a good question. When we're dealing with formulas, they say formulaic text. Hotep D Nasu is a formula, and formulas like names are abbreviated. So this sedge plant alone is representing the word Nasut or Nesu. Okay, all together. And you'll see this in the title of a king, the throne name of a king, where you see Nisut Bidi. You're not going to see it in there either. You're just going to see the sedge and the bread loaf, and then the B and the bread loaf. And all 4 of those together, the sedge bread loaf, B bread loaf, is the phrase Nisut Bidi, which is the king of Upper and Lower Kemet. So the word for king is Nisut, but it's abbreviated with just the sedge. All right, so you're not going to see the N or the Y.
Okay. Cool.
So you're correct. So these first 5 glyphs is Hotep D Nasut.
Okay. Hotep D Nasut. And then okay. That's gotta be Ampu.
Yep, that's correct.
Ampu, and then it's Hotep, and it's the T. It's so it's Hotep D Nasu, Ampu. It usually says Hotep D Nasu something Jedu, but this doesn't say.
Right. You doing the rhyme. Hotep D Nasu with
Yep.
Seder Neb Jedu.
Yep.
Necha Neb Abju. F Peret Keru. Nah. But close, but this is different.
Yeah, so it's Ampu and Hotep T, then it's Mess T, Nefer, then I don't know what that is. Then
All right, so let's pause there. Does anybody want to pick up or even correct anything? I'm trying to get some. No, let me look at this chat again. All right, we have 20 million people watching. Click the link. Let me put this link back up in here one more time because I don't want people to have the excuse. I don't see the link. No excuse now. It's bright yellow Seshu. I just posted it. Click the link. Come on in here. Participate. Stop being scared. Come on in here and learn something.
That's what I was trying to say. Like, yeah, y'all scared of something? But yeah, to take it from where he left off, it's see Kenti. So you have those 4 jugs. Right after Impu Hotep, so you have Kenti, and it has the jugs and the braised bread loaf. And then you have Netcher or Hoot Netcher, so you have honorific transposition going on right there. So Hoot Netcher, and then you have a Kerest, and that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 glyphs, all the way to the raised bread loaf.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. You said Kares, is that Christ? Are we looking at Jesus Christ here?
Yeah, that's Christ, and you can see like there's a kind of like a bed thing. That's where in a tomb where he was like there for 3 days. Kerest, Christ tomb. No, it's not.
So what is that glyph with the? You see that the little spike, the little dinosaur bone?
I believe it's like is it a harpoon or something like that?
Oh, okay.
That's harpoon. And
It's funny. Today I was reading an article, and there's a dinosaur fossil they found in Morocco, and it had like spikes coming out of the spine, and it looked just like that. It's kind of funny.
Mm.
Yeah.
So another myth buster tonight is that the word Christ that we see right here is not the word for Christ. All right, don't let these people tell you that. All right, those days are over. All right, we're not gonna have the Ankh meaning 4 different things, the Ogdods and the 2 pairs of 8 from Kaminu. Don't let them do that to you. Don't let them say Christ is Christ. Don't let them do it. Okay, we're looking at the word Christ right here.
They find Jesus.
Yeah, that's not Jesus. That's not Jesus' tomb. That's not Jesus. That's not the spirit that stuck him in the side where he bled out. And that's not his tomb. And that's not the tomb door being moved and he was missing out the tomb. That's what. Listen, y'all think I'm playing? This is what people will say. And this folded cloth is not the shroud of Turin, the thing that covered Jesus. See, people, listen. I've heard people break this down this way. They say this is his tomb. That's the opening. They removed the rock from the tomb. This is his shroud, this folded cloth because it's material, and that's the spear that stabbed him in the side when he was on the cross. And I don't know what they say all this stuff is.
The mountain where they took him, and then he cried out, "Lord, the mouth have you forsaken me?"
People still say it's a UFO. Like, I can't believe it. It's crazy.
Yeah. So that's a myth bust. All right. So we bust up 2 myths right now. All right. And there are people in the conscious community who will say what I'm saying. Don't let them do it. All right. Do not let them do it. All right. Y'all tell them to come see us. Get this work over here. All right. Okay. So that's correct. I do want to make a correction. This is instead of Hut Netcher, this is Sa Netcher. All right.
Okay. Dua. Sa. How do you write the Sa?
SA capital H.
Oh, that's a Dua.
Okay. And all right, let's keep it going. We're at this point. Anybody want to pick up? Don't be scared. Don't be scared. We got Boom in the house. Vyasa. Click the link. We got 21,000 people. All right, go ahead.
Bad. That's Sin. SN. The folded cloth and water ripple. Then you have M, Sin M, and then that is, I believe that's Wasir. On top of, no, that's Haru, right? Yeah, I think that's Haru. I can't tell because there's no color to it. But I probably still would be wrong anyway. But it's gotta be Haru standing on top of his throne. Man, I can't tell.
You close?
Okay.
I mean, you close. You have the Sin correct, and you have the the owl.
Yeah, and Wasir, I believe it's WSR.
Where you see that at?
Oh, after the M. I can't. Am I wrong?
Right after the M is the Heru, is the bird.
That's Haru. Okay, that's what I was having some issues with. Okay, that's a falcon. That's Haru. And then
no, I mean, it's not Heru, but it's a falcon. So let me just be.
Oh. Okay. And then there's a guy in the field. I don't really know like what that would be, but then there's a triliteral after that.
Mm-hmm.
Nefer, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Then that is man, all these birds. So many different birds because like
sound dizzy, man.
Yeah, that's what's here. I mean, yeah, I'm not sure if that next bird, which one that is. It's a small one, so that's the W. That's I can't remember. I can't remember.
That a sparrow?
Say it again.
Where are you?
Oh, after that triliteral, there's a bird. I can't. There's a small bird.
You got where?
Yeah, I think Zane mentioned it as sparrow swallows. What
Is
it?
it sparrow or
Yeah.
swallow? So it's either
Oh, okay.
or najis.
Where? Because you see the bread raised bread loaf. So.
Yeah.
Oh wait, there's two of them actually, two little ones. There's like you said, there's najis and there's where, but one is a swallow, one is a sparrow. So, but I think this is a weret because of but we'll see. But what did you get for the other bot though?
Yeah.
The bot before that, I wasn't paying attention.
Oh, which one? All the way.
Right after the owl, the other owl is covered by the arrow.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that I couldn't figure out, but he ended up telling me that was Haru.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because that looked a little weird for me to conceive.
Okay.
Well, it's not Heru. It's a falcon.
Yeah, the falcon. Yeah, the falcon. Yeah.
All right, so we got down to here. We got the man with the walking stick, and we can surmise that this is an elder man with his walking staff.
Mhm.
All right, then we have this one. You said what this one was, right?
Yep, Nefer.
And this bird here. Anybody know what this bird or this combination?
It's a W, right? Or WT.
Nope.
I'll be red.
Yeah, there you go, Zane.
There.
That's correct.
Good job.
Yeah, that make it. So.
All right, next one.
M.
M. Keep going.
And that would be a biliteral, and is that M N? I can't tell if that's the water ripple by itself or it's this other thing. If it's a water ripple, of course it's N. Somebody else. Because I think it's a biliteral. I think it's M. But I'm kind of guessing.
Okay. Anybody want help? We about to run right through this.
Yeah, that's a tricky one. I don't know if it's with the basket because you have M and then N, so I don't think you have two prepositions. So we'll say if it's N B W on that one spelled out.
So just one quick question. Boom, we're gonna be on for a while. So if you had a question that's not on this topic, once we get through this real quick, we're gonna change up. All right. So if you want to wait to come on then or come on now and just wait it out, that's fine. So just to let you know. But go ahead. So keep on going.
What's that? Emicat?
Oh, I was thinking that it probably could be Nebu because we can't have M and like two prepositions right after each other. So, so we have Warek M Nebu.
That's correct. Keep going.
What is that?
Now I'm gonna say this: if we've done a lot of offering formulas on this channel, we've done a lot. Like we spend a lot of times on offering formulas, so much so that people get bored of them. And so by now, anybody who's been following our channel and hanging out with us, there's certain things that are definitely repeats in a lot of these offering formulas, and so you should recognize some of these just at first sight. Now this one's slightly different because, as you said, usually it's Hotep Dinasu with Seer as the deity, but this is Hotep Dinasu Enpu, and even another Hotep, which we'll come right back to. But so even here, this is common. This next two glyphs on top of each other is common. It usually comes. I tell you, it usually comes at the end of the formula when we say Inkani.
Da 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 da.
Inkani blank.
Inkani.
So if anybody knows it, they'll know that.
Ma'akeru? I mean,
You had to skip. You had to just
Close.
skip the word that people need, and then
Close. Yeah, you skipped that one, Zane. You I ain't say the very end.
okay.
Inkani.
I know that it's Ra or Nefer, and I think it's Neferah. I think that's I at the end, but the one that you're pointing at,
These two right here.
yeah, those two, I'm not sure.
Okay, let's just do it. So this is Imak. So when I say Inkani, Imaku, Aku, Makeru. So this is Imak. In this case, it'd be Imaku. And then we have these two spell a word here. I'm just trying to speed it up a little bit. So these two glyphs right here spell up a word. And that's not Ra though. That's not the sun. And I know. See, this is old kingdom. This is not in its pristine purity. So these glyphs are plus the screen. I'm sure it's probably small for you guys. This is not the sun disc. This is the placenta. So I'll give you all that.
So it will be Kher. Oh, Kher.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the last two glyphs. Let's Zane do that. Last two glyphs. What's the last two glyphs right here? They ain't got that.
I don't know, man. Ib.
Yep. Well, you got to know this glyph I'm actually pointing to. You, boy, if you don't know that, boy, you're gonna lose your Hotep card.
That slipped my mind, man. Hold on.
What? Are you serious?
You're gonna lose your black card, your Hotep card, your all that, everything.
Man. I don't know, man. I've been working on that, man.
It's a triliteral.
It's the word Netcher.
I was gonna say the N word. I was gonna say in the suit, but
it's 4.
It's Netcher.
Netcher.
So it's Netcher Ah. All right, so let's go back to the beginning because we're gonna get through this. So we have Hotep Dinasut, and then we also have the Enpu. Hotep the Enpu. This is interesting because they combine two D's giving. So the reason for this is when they say Hotep Dinasut, which is an offering in which the king gives, and then you have a deity's name and Hotep again. What this means is that they're saying, namely, an offering given to Enpu. All right, so normally there are deities that are involved with the offering formula, and so as a FYI, this is for everybody's info. The offering formula, what it means is it's not something that's literally done. This is all figurative, and what it means in general, high level, is that these offering formulas was to ensure and reflect the fact that the king had to run the kingdom in such a way that the offering tables to the deities were plentiful. And if the offering tables to the deities were plentiful, they can therefore share it with the deceased and the people, which means that the king is doing his job. And so it's an offering in which the king gives. And that's a confirmation that the king is doing his job well and running the kingdom well. Almost like trickle-down economics. Okay? But the king did not literally go around at everybody's gravesite who died and gave an offering. Okay? This is not literal. And then the deities are not literal. They don't have stomachs. They're not sentient human beings. They're not going to be eating anything to receive an offering. So that's a whole nother topic, but I'm just saying as a FYI. So this particular one is an offering which the king gives, namely an offering to Enpu, Kenet, who is in front, Sa Netcher, who is in front of his divine booth. All right. So this is an epithet of Enpu. Then we have that word, Kores. I told y'all, do not let anybody tell you this is correct. Now we have the word karest, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 glyphs. But there's a suffix on here, sin. Karest sin. The word sin is a third person plural pronoun. They or them or their if it's possessive. So it's karest sin, which means their burial. Okay, so that they may have a burial. Now, why is it sin? It's sin because it's talking about more than one person here. It's not a single person. Instead of karest F would be that he have a burial is they, them, all right? Then we have M, which is the word in, preposition in, inside, like to go within. So that they may have a burial in, and then we have charet Netcher, which is the word for necropolis. That is the famous site. It could be, not in this case, but it could be the Valley of the Kings. It could be Saqqara. It could be anywhere where people were buried in ancient Egypt. In this case, this mastaba that these glyphs are that we're looking at happens to be a grave in Saqqara, Egypt. Okay, so that's the necropolis. Karet Netcher, that's what this word is. Okay, then it moves on. So that they may have a burial within the necropolis, and then we have the word Iau. This is the old man or elder with the staff. It's the word Iau, which means old age. Okay, we have the word Nefer, which is beautiful or good, and then Waret, great. Or Nefer Waret is like very beautiful or very great. Is to put emphasis on. Okay, so the wishing or the giving is to have a burial within the necropolis at a beautiful, very old age. So they're wishing these people to have a very long life, to not be buried until they reach eldership.
So that's very interesting you say that, because according to most people, the Medew were obsessed with death. You would think they were rushing to die, but over here you see like people want to live and have a live for long before they actually die, obviously, which is very interesting.
Yes, that's correct. So they wanted to wish them a burial at a very rich older age. Okay, so hopefully everybody got that. Any questions on that so far? We're gonna keep it moving. Nope. Okay, so let's keep it moving. So burial in the necropolis at a very old age. M. Now M is a preposition. It could mean in, within, or even as. All right. And here's another FYI. Now you're all learning something tonight. Now, if y'all don't know this already, then this is new. Then that's cool. If you already know, then this is a review. All right. So either way, we're gonna get it in. This M is a preposition. Prepositions are one of the class of words that is hardest to translate from one language to the other. But as long as you know it's a preposition, then you're good. So this owl is not the word in, it's more so the word as. So their burial in the necropolis at a very beautiful old age, or a great good old age, as lords that are honored, imak, which means to venerate, lords that are venerated. Before, care is before, or to be in front of something or someone, the great God, Netcher Ah. All right, so everybody got that first line. An offering which the king gives, namely an offering to Inpu, who is in front of the divine booth, that they may have a burial within, they may have an burial within the necropolis at a beautiful, very old age, as lords venerated before the great God. All right. We got that?
Yes, yes.
All right. So next line. Let's fly through this. So again, this in the middle is symmetric text. So these glyphs in the middle are going to be read for both sides. So I think Mr. Somebody mentioned this earlier. Who was that?
That was me.
Newesera? Okay.
Uh-huh.
So what is it again? Just repeat it.
That's per the great house.
Yes. Very good. This is the palace. So the big house or the great house. All right. Per a. And this is where they get the word pharaoh from. So per a is where we get the pharaoh. And the first time that the actual great house or the palace became synonymous with a person to be called a pharaoh in terms of a person was during Akhenaten's time. So that's another FYI. All right. But this one's not the person. This is actually the palace. Okay, so the per. So let's go in. So Emicat, go for it.
Okay. So you have per R, and then you have I am going to go with Imira.
Yep.
Why? No. Let me be pseudo. It's the more. So okay, no. So it's Imira, and I think it's air, and then I don't know the word for here. Overseer of somebody who does hair. Is that it? Imira, and then you have air. And then I don't know what that is. It looked like hair to me. Okay, so so let me continue. We'll come back to that. So Imira, some, and then you have Nesut, and then ready. Oh, and then hair upon shasta, like, and then Henem Hotep.
Okay. Good. Anybody got any objections to that?
The orm and the conical loaf, she said, was ready. I was just asking. Is that like two? Is that a bilateral?
It's not actually the conical bread loaf in there. It's the bowl.
Oh,
Nope.
Gotcha. So ready. Okay.
So let's make sense of this and see if that was correct. So we have per a, then we have Emira. So, but I'm glad you brought that more thing up. So here's another myth buster. So we got 3 myth busters in this. So we bust up the Ankh, we bust up Karast. Now we're gonna bust up this more thing. So again, do not let anybody tell you whether they're a Temple Moor or not, or the Moor Science Temple of America or not, or whatever. Don't let them tell you that the Egyptian words that have a consonant MR means more. Like the Moors, Moor, Moors. It does not. It has nothing to do with the Moors whatsoever. Ta Meri does not mean the land of the Moors. Ta Meri, which means Tar Moors, mean the land of the Moors. This is how the Moors has conscious traditionally done it. That is pseudo. That is not correct, and that's just flat out wrong. All right. The M and the owl in the mouth is an abbreviation for two words, imi ra. Imi means in, within, and ra, the open mouth, means the mouth in this case. And that's a phrase that means somebody who's in charge, a superintendent or overseer, as we say. Imi ra. Some people say imi they would say it as imi and that's fine. And it goes into the word amir in Arabic, somebody in charge. So this is imi ra. So someone is in charge of something. And so we have ir or iru. Then we have inut, which is not hair, but these are fingernails.
Ah, okay. So they're pedicurists and manicurists.
Yes. These are pedicure and manicure. These somebody who's in charge of those who doll people up.
So not hairdressers, not the hair, the nails. Okay.
Yeah, you know how women say I gotta get my mani and pedi.
So there were Koreans in ancient Egypt.
That's
brother,
messed up.
stole it from us. It's another thing they stole from us.
Oh, it makes sense now since you put it like that. Okay.
Yep, we were the first nail salon folks. Yep. They stole that. They stole that from Egypt. We were the first. So we gotta take it back. But that's what that is. It's the person, Emirah, the overseer of the manicurist of the palace. All right, let's keep going. You said Nasut, which is king, or it could mean royal.
Royal, yes.
All right. And what's this?
I would say was, if you said new world, it could be D or me.
Yeah, this is a title. This is a title for someone who catered to the king, or catered to the royalty. Okay, it's a person who caters to royalty. So royal caterer, not in terms of cook or food catering, but to cater to.
Oh, so you're showing like a service, something like that.
Then we move on to Her Seshta Khanum Hotep. So Her Seshta is not a pawn, but it is the master. Her in this case means master of the secret. So it's the master of secrets or guardian of secrets. And usually this title is written this way would be a royal confidant, a person who could give counsel to someone, and basically it's a person who has a permanent non-disclosure agreement.
So it's over the confidential matters.
Yes. So he's a master or guardian of confidentiality.
Yep. I got a question.
Right. Yes.
Isn't that raw under hair? Or would that be like a phonetic complement?
Yep, the second one, phonetic complement. The word hair. Mm-hmm. And then we have Khnum Hotep. So that's a person's name. So this person here on this side is Khnum Hotep, because this is reflecting this side of the figures. So this is who this is, Khnum Hotep. All right. And notice that the exact same thing is said on this side. We have Per'a, M, Emira. They have Eru, Inut, and then the same thing all the way down, except the name is different. We have Khnum, then we have Ni, Unk.
So in today's English language, when you're reading and you come across something that's inside of like parentheses and they say don't read that, is that like the most closest comparison you can have to a phonetic complement?
No, usually in parentheses means omission or clarification, and so it's a little bit different. Like in parentheses, the phonetic complement is what would that be like in English?
A semicolon, not semicolon.
Boy, I don't really know if there's an English equivalent to that.
Yeah, because see, sometimes with the phonetic complements, they really come in handy when you have like some glyphs that can be either one thing translated as has maybe two different transliteration. So then it's gonna help you spell them out, like like the one that we normally see a lot, the chisel, where it could be uppercase A, B, or it could be mer, MR. So if you just write it as that, and obviously you can use the context, but sometimes you might not know which one it is, but that will help.
Gotcha.
Yeah, what I meant was apostrophe. Would it be like that?
Nah, not apostrophe. Apostrophe is used to a pause or to as a list to list out things, and that's not what the phonetic complements do. No. So, so that's pretty much it. Let me get back to it. Let me get my cursor back over here. Okay. So so it's the same thing. So these two individuals were manicurists. They were manicurists of the palace. They were royal confidants and masters of confidentiality, and you have their name. Neunk Khnum, and you have Khnum Hotep. All right, so this is the Old Kingdom tomb. And if you go down here, you will see their names again. You see their names here, Khnum Hotep. And this is Nisut, Reknisut, which is a royal acquaintance. So they were very, very close to the king. And same with this person here.
He knows the king.
Neunk Khnum. And also you see where if you could see it, it's kind of faint, but you have Reknisut, royal acquaintance. All right, so, and you see the titles here again. You see Her Seshta Khnum Hotep, Her Seshta Neunk Khnum. And you see Eru Inut, Emira, and you have Per-A. So it's mirroring each other. All right, so.
Now, would you read that on the top of the doorway? Would you read that left to right?
Here?
Yeah.
Yeah. You said left to right?
Yeah, too.
No.
Right to left?
Let's look at the jar.
That's what I was looking at specifically.
No, this is both of their names together.
Okay.
So this is both of their names together. So we have Khnum Hotep and Neunk Khnum in that small space. And what's below this? Yeah, so we have just the doorway. It's pretty.
So it is left to right.
No, we don't say Hotep Khnum. It's Khnum Hotep.
Oh. Okay.
Like you have here. See Khnum Hotep? You're reading this direction?
Gotcha.
And over here, you're reading the other way around.
That wouldn't be the same way you spell the Netter's name, Khnum, would you?
Yes, it is. Yep.
It is. Okay.
Definitely. Khnum is satisfied, which is what this means. Khnum Hotep is content. Like we have Amen Hotep, Amen is content. All right. Then we have Neunk Khnum. And people should know that Unk is life.
Now above what we were translating,
Up here?
It seems like yeah, in front of the people getting their nails done, like on his hand. Are those like
up here?
no above like the giants?
Oh,
Yeah.
nah. They're not getting their nails done. Oh,
No,
you
I'm not. I'm saying where his hand is. The one that's across from him.
right here?
Yeah.
Oh, looks like he's at the salon right now.
So what I was saying, yeah, exactly. I was thinking that, but in his hand, if you can see those, are those like wasir, those staffs, like?
No. These are offerings. These are loaf cakes that are offered.
Okay.
And it's on the offering table. Like it's a table. It's the paint is not there, so it's hard to see it.
Got you.
Yeah, but this iru it literally means doer of fingernails, and so we call that manicurists today. So just so everyone will know.
But by them holding, those couple of titles that you read, and they have to keep secrets. It puts me in the mind of they were basically the king's groomer. They were like royal groomers. So
Yeah.
I would think they would do more than fingernails. I think they were all around groomers. I mean, and I may be wrong, but that's what it'll put me in the mind of when you break it all the way down. That maybe.
Well, I mean, that's true. They may have, but as far as what the title is, they emphasize nails because there's word for hair. Like there's actual titles for people who actually do hair, and or whatever other job. So there's an emphasis here on the nails. So it could be fingernails or toenails. So mani-pedi, manicurist.
That's crazy, man. that's wild. A beautician.
Yeah. And that's and as far as a culture, like we don't see too many men doing that type of job here. It happens, but it's not widespread, especially not to put the royals something to it and stuff like that. But we have barbers and cosmetologists and things. We do.
Obviously, this is something for the wealthy, so it was a good paying job, clearly for them to even be able to afford such tombs and all that kind of stuff. So that was a high paying job,
Yeah. So again, these two figures, Khnum Hotep Khnum is satisfied, and we have Ni-Ankh Khnum, which is life belongs to Khnum. And Khnum is the deity of the potter's wheel, responsible for building. He's known as Ked. One of his epithets is Ked, is the builder, molder. And clay is a good figurative way to express molding because clay can be shaped into anything before it hardens. And when clay hardens, it's a representation of a maturation process and time lapse. So you can mold something over time. And Khnum is a builder of character that today we call a personality. So when Khnum is seen creating the twins, as they say, the people say the Ka, they think it's the Ka and the Ba. It's not. But Khnum molds the Ka, and then his wife inserts this thing that he's done and implants it into the pregnant women who give birth. And so that's a way of shaping and molding the character of a person. Today we call it a personality or a person's disposition, making them unique in what their expressions from everybody else. All right. So it's all figurative because some people, and I gotta keep saying that because we busting up myths here, and but I gotta keep saying that because people will take it and run with it, and actually think the Egyptians believed that humans were created on the potter's wheel. And that's just far from the truth. They didn't literally believe that. Number one, you cannot mold a human. You can't even mold a human statue on a potter's wheel today. A potter's wheel that spins around, you can only make cylindrical objects. You cannot make a human being on a potter's wheel, even if you try. I'll bet somebody's mortgage if they could use a potter's wheel and clay and mold a human with 2 legs and everything and make it look human. Don't show me a lump of clay and say it's a human. But you're not gonna be able to do the arms or none of that stuff on a potter's wheel that's spinning. You gotta stop the potter's wheel and then put clay pieces on something. But anyway, so that's a whole other thing. All right, so okay, so that's that. Anything else from anybody? Let's check out the so boom, if you still there, if you want to come in, you say you may have a question that you didn't want to change the topic, but I think we have completed that. So let me take this off the screen.
It's interesting because if somebody was just to utilize leadership and just ignore the text, I know that whatever, the translation that we came out with and the information we came out with of those 2 people would not be what people would come up with just by looking at the pictures and whatnot. That's what people tend to do. So it's very interesting because you kind of like you miss out on the whole meat of the information.
Yep. So let's jump to something else. Anybody got anything else? If not, I'm gonna jump to another myth buster. I think people enjoy busting up myths though. But let me check the chat though. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything in the chat. Vyasa says, how do you say kids take your butts to bed in Sesh? Yeah, he on daddy time. Hey, we're gonna find that out. We're gonna find that out for you.
Let me ask you, Ujaru, based on what we just read, do you believe that's where Mesopotamian culture got the concept of man being molded from clay, even from the Bible? Because that's basically, their concept that man was molded by God from clay.
That's a good question, but I think that's one of those cultural universals though. And the reason why is real simple because as long as because we got to remember that we are animals, so we're in the animal kingdom, and ever since humans have been human and observing birth and death, they saw that human beings deteriorate and decay and go back to the soil. So from the soil we come to back to the soil we go. Basically, that was in the consciousness of humanity for a very, very long time. And so the idea of clay is that clay was used. You can mold clay into things that you want. And so when they give this agency to a sky daddy, a god out there in the sky, to have at his pleasure to mold whatever you want, clay is the perfect metaphor, a perfect figurative way of expressing that. Because clay was used to build houses and bricks, used to make things. Clay mixed with water, and then you can mold something, and then over time it hardens and it becomes useful. And so that's kind of like a universal. So I wouldn't say that they got it from the Egyptians or vice versa. That's kind of like one of those human universals.
Got you. Yeah, got you. Okay, it makes sense.
Yeah, but what's funny though is that bringing up the Bible, that biblical God in Genesis, when he takes the dust of the ground and molds and shapes man, he has to do something first. He has to give man mouth to mouth resuscitation to bring him into become a living being. And this mouth to mouth resuscitation, I'm saying mouth to mouth, but it's actually mouth to nose. because God breathed into the nostrils of man, and he became a living and breathing person. And so I say that because in Kemet, there's that concept was also in their consciousness. Because here's the thing: the only difference between death and sleeping is the vital force that allows a person to sustain life and be able to get up the next day. That's a sleeping person, but a dead person doesn't have that vital force no any longer. And so if you were to look at two people laying on their back, one person's dead and the other person's asleep, there would be no difference between the two, except the other person is breathing, but they look the same. Both of them have their mouth closed and everything. So humans had to ponder what is allowing this person to get back up the next day versus what is this other person missing that's not allowing him to get up. And we call that dead because he's no longer getting up, but this person is getting up. And so they can easily figure out that it's the air, but it's traveling through the nose, not the mouth, because the mouth is closed. So they always saw the breath of life, or that force that caused a continuation of life, traveling through the nose, not the mouth. So in Kemet, you'll see unks, which represents life, being presented to people at their nose. And in the opposite direction, to kill someone is to chop off their nose. And so a lot of people, this is another myth buster, man. We on a roll tonight. Another myth is that white people broke off all the noses on the Egyptian statues because they wanted to hide their Negroid features. So listen, y'all heard it here, and you probably heard it before, but if you didn't, you heard it here first. But we're not the first to say this at all, but that's a myth. That's a lie. White people did not go around blowing off and chopping off the Egyptian statues of Egyptian noses off of Egyptian statues. The Egyptians themselves did that. Okay, now I'm not going to say that no white person ever did it in Egyptology, but I'm saying that was a common practice among the Egyptians themselves. They would break off the nose of statues and even hieroglyphic carvings to make sure that the person was no longer alive, because the nose symbolized the pathway of life, the nostrils. All right, so much so, and I'm giving this to y'all, that the lifeline of the whole kingdom was the Nile. And they say the deity Khnum lived at the beginning of the Nile. And the Nile splits, and it's as if the water comes out of the nose and feeds the happy Itaru, which feeds the people. And that direction to the Egyptians was called Khenet, which is drawn within the glyphs by a nose. Don't believe me? Just look it up, and you'll see the word Khenet is the word for nose. It's also a word for forehead, something that protrudes out. All right, so there you have it. So again, that's the myth. Don't believe that white people shot the nose off, broke the nose off the statues, and all this other kind of stuff. The Egyptians did that. All right, so just want y'all to understand that. So who else? What else? Let's see. In the chat, real quick, I'm just trying to address some stuff in the chat. Hassan, man, you got to help me out with your last name. Hassan Anyab Willie, and I probably butchered that. But he said, "Can you say, may they live long, etc.? Because the sentence could be a euphemism. May they live long." Okay, I'm not quite sure what part of our discussion you're referring to, so you got to kind of expound on that question. because may they live long. Because there's a phrase. Reason why I asked that, there's a phrase in the language for that. And they would say things like Unk bi Ra Jet, which means live like Ra forever. You know,
the,
stuff like that.
Yeah, the de-unk jet. But maybe was he talking about the part where it was with the inscriptions with the old age or something? I'm just trying to guess here.
Well, that's why I asked him to clarify so we could know. Okay, so I'm gonna go to got Hotep, got Dr. Odara in the building. Brother Mathis says, Hotep Boka, this means peace, family, or I come in peace, family. Do I have that right? Yeah, why not? Definitely. Brother Mathis, who told you that? Would y'all? Okay, I'm not quite sure what. I'm seeing your comments a little late, so I'm not sure what that is. And you say who is for Brother Mathis? Who told you that? Or would y'all? You gotta explain what was I saying? You know, because we said a lot. Hassan says, maybe that's the reason for Khartoum, which means elephant nose, where the Nile splits. Okay, that's a good point, Hassan. It's a good point. Very, very good point. And also, Elephantine was at one point near the southern border of Kemet. Elephantine, called Abu. All right. Abu also means ivory, by the way, which is what elephants have, ivory tusks, and that was a trading center or place specialized in ivory. What else? And also the deity Khnum was the deity of there. So that's interesting. Well, he said yes with the old age. Okay, so he's talking about the old age. Euphemism. Well, in the you know, they wish them a very graceful and nice burial at a very old age. That's the same as saying, you know, hope that they live long and prosper.
Yeah, but you notice that on the glyph, I mean on the inscriptions, they're using, you know, they don't just pick the glyphs randomly, so they pick like the old man holding a stick for EO, you know, so just to kind of give it, you know, make that semantic, you know, give it that semantic value of, you know, living to an old age. You know, because some people might look at old age as something negative, but that is something that is a blessing. So to emphasize on the fact that they, you know, get to see, you know, they get to be old, but have a great, you know, live a great life.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Brother Mathis came back and said about breaking the nose off. Who told you that? Well, which part of that? That white people didn't do it, or that Egyptians did do it? But as far as who told me that, the Egyptians themselves, they'll tell you that. The Egyptians, we have to understand from the Egyptians' perspective and how they saw the afterlife, what people will assume the afterlife is. You got to let the Egyptians tell you what they felt the afterlife was. And there are inscriptions and that still exist to this very day where you'll find names that are erased and damages that are done to statuary. Statues where the noses were not broken off were reused and plastered over, and people would put their names there instead. So these statues were not made to, in many cases, were not made specifically to a person, to a particular person. They were reused by other people. And you find that in many places. You find that with, I guess the extreme of it would be Akhenaten. People like to call him the heretic king and so on and so forth. And he wasn't liked. He went against the priesthood of Amen and changed everything up. He moved the capital down to Amarna. Took 10 years for a building project, a lot of money. Basically used up a lot of the money of the kingdom and stuff to build a major city in 10 years and move the capital down to Amarna, et cetera, et cetera. but you'll find damage done to these places. Also, even from one king to another, for example, you have Seti the First, who built a temple in Abydos, Abju, known as Abju to them, and then his son Ramses the Second came right after him and finished the temple, because during Seti the First time he didn't finish the temple, but Ramses the Second came along. Not only did he finish the temple, but he also erased some portions of his father's name and everything. Also, you'll know that the ancient Egyptians, they used to draw the names of entities and then destroy it and leave it destroyed in the glyphs. For example, we'll see the name Apep. And when you see most of the time when you see the word Apep spelled out, you'll see knives, or because it's spelled with a snake, and that snake is damaged purposely. Either drawn with knives in it, where you can see the knives, or as if knives were applied to it and it's damaged. All right. So it's a practice, and plus you have to understand how the Egyptians saw the sustaining life force, sustaining force that kept life going, and that pathway was through the nose. All right, so hopefully that will help out a bit. Sutek Hotep, he said people still do that in rituals today. Which one? Breaking noses? I mean, what? you gotta explain that one. I just don't know which one you're talking about. But the nose was very important. The nose was very important. Yes. And what's interesting about that though is that's just, see, the thing is this for Brother Mathis. The claim that's been floating around for a long time is that white people used Egyptian statues as target practice, shot off the nose, broke the nose of statues, and this and that, right? But nobody ever asked them, like these teachers in the communities and these platforms who say that, nobody asked them how they know that. Demanding proof from them. Prove to me that was a thing that white people did. Prove it.
Well, you ain't gotta prove that bad things white people do. Like, they just do bad things. That's what people expect. That you understand. Like they're just like, why do I gotta prove they're white people?
Right. Yeah, we heard the story of Napoleon using the Sphinx's cannon target practice. And it's in the Nas song. I know I can. Nas said it in that song.
Yeah. That's myth though. So we gotta be real about everything. It's not happening anymore. This is it. All that stuff is going down the drain. It's going in the garbage can. Okay, so Sutek said writing names or entities on paper and then burning it. Okay, yeah. So they still do that today. I see what you're saying. Because let me tell you this. This is a little FYI sidebar thing. Just a quick peek into what the actual Egyptians thought of as the afterlife. People think that the afterlife is conceived like a Christian heaven that you go to and you go to this place and you're going to chill out for the rest of your existence with everybody else who's chilling out for the rest of their existence, which means it's going to be a very crowded place, number one. Because imagine all the humans that ever lived in one place. That's crazy. But anyway, that's what people, kind of think about and come from that perspective. But the ancient Egyptians, the afterlife, and I want y'all to understand this, the afterlife, as far as the place, is in the mind of the living. Okay? I've said this many, many times. If this is your first time hearing me say it, you're hearing it. The afterlife, the place of the afterlife, is in the mind of the living. And what survives once a person is dead is that person's name. The name is one of the most important things in many African communities. The name. And as long as the name is invoked or evoked in the mind of the living, that person lives on. That person has an afterlife. So when we say Wasir Ma'at Ra Satepen Ra or Ramses II, we say Ma'at Kara or Hatshepsut, or we say Amenhotep, or we say Neb, Min Keperu Ra, and all these other names of kings. They have a continual afterlife because we're remembering their name. You have to understand, the ancient Egyptians saw the human being as a composite entity made up of different elements, and certain elements had an expiration date and certain elements did not. Certain elements were conditional. The name is conditional. If nobody who is living remembers your identity, then you are no longer exist, period. But as long as somebody is living, no matter who it is, as long as somebody who's living remembers your identity, you live on. That part of you lives on. Not your cot, not what they call the cot, which is the physical body. That is a amalgamation of 37 trillion cells that, die out, change form, this, that, and the third. That's gone. As it was when you were alive. That's done. But there's other parts that make up the human entity that conditionally can live on. The name being the major piece, called the Ren, and it means identity. So your identity was contained and roped off, and they rope your names off in what's called a shinu, which is a word from the verb shini, which means to encircle. So they encircled or defined your name and contained it. The kings visually represent. We've seen that with kings visibly. With the cartouche, their throne name and their family name was encased in a rope, and it was one. Just another myth buster. So here's another one. It's probably the last one. Another myth is that only the kings enjoyed an afterlife. That's false. But it appears that way only because it's the kings whose name was widely known throughout the kingdom, and it was a mathematical probability that more people would remember the identity of a king than the average Joe Blow. Why? Because the king is the most famous and popular person in the kingdom. And so he stands the chance to have a long afterlife rather than some nobody from 2 blocks over down the street that nobody really knows except the family, immediate family, etc. So that's why people came up with that myth that only the Egyptian kings had an afterlife. That's just not the case. It's just that their names were more likely to be remembered. That's it. So it's the name. That's the afterlife is based around the name. Okay, so y'all heard that. I want y'all to understand that, know that. Whenever anybody bring up the afterlife in terms of ancient Egyptian culture, just understand that it has everything to do with the name, the identity, Ren. All right, so that's that. And so when they scratch out a king's name or a person's name, they're trying to erase them out of existence so they can't be remembered, because eventually over time they're going to be forgotten. Because the only reason why we know the Egyptian kings' names is because their name was written and it survived. Ramses II wasn't having it. Matter of fact, let me see if I have a picture. I show this all the time. Ramses II. Let me show you how he did his name. He was not playing. If I can have if I have it where I can show you all quick, I'll pull it up. If not, just somebody remind me next time. But Ramses was not playing. Let's see. Do I have it? I should. I've shown it many times. I mean, I have it. I'm just trying to see if I have it handy. No. Here we go. So, listen, Ramses was not playing. Y'all see this on the screen? Let me lock this on my screen. Ramses was like, nah, I'm not having it. I'm having an afterlife. So his name was carved so deep. Like, you see this teddy bear? Somebody stuffed a teddy bear up in there. Oh, can I move my cursor? Yeah. See that teddy bear? You'll see bird. Like if you look in other places, you see bird nest and some more stuff. But these things are carved very, very deep because the whole idea is like, listen, nobody's gonna reuse this statue. Nobody's gonna carve my name out of there and not have problems. Yep. So anyway, it's about the name. And you see the Shinu? This is a rope. This is a name that is carved, that is contained within a rope. And the actual word Ren is the Shinu itself. The word Ren for identity or name is spelled with a Shinu. Spelled out with a mouth and a water ripple, but it's determined with the Shinu. All right, so just give y'all a little bit insight on that. So anybody got anything else? It's 1 o'clock, so just want to at least start winding it down. Oh, Boom! I see Boom came in, so you had a question.
Yeah. I just want to say my greetings to all of you first, and I won't be here for long. I just want to make a quick comment about something that the panel said, I think about 2 or 3 days ago, and this was the stream about the Egyptian identity. And you said something that's very, very, very interesting. You gave an example of a football team, soccer, and you were saying that a lot of people watch soccer, but we're not really concerned about, the color of the skin of the people that are playing. We don't focus on that, but we focus on the soccer team's culture, their skill, their technique, and all that kind of stuff. And how they market themselves, how they sell themselves to the people, how they challenge other teams, and how they build themselves up and train and so forth. That's more important than the race of the people in the soccer team. For example, I like Manchester City, and I've never ever been concerned about whether is it an all black team or is it an all Arab team or something like that. And I think that day, it made me think, for anybody who's having a hard time actually focusing on studying the culture of ancient Egypt, that can be, a good example of how you can approach it. Approach it like a soccer team, where you're not concerned about how they look, but you're more concerned about how they play, and how they're organized. So that day really, really, really made me think about, it can actually help a lot of us, like break through that barrier of, well, if they're not black, then I'm not going to be concerned. Whether they were great or not, I wouldn't care. You actually break that barrier, and it's like, oh, so if it's an approach I can use, then I might as well use it. And it doesn't stop people from continuing to do research to get a definitive answer on, the maybe I'd say the racial identity. You can still do that on the side, but then at least you can break that barrier and get into the culture and study it. So I just wanted to give all of you credit for bringing that up and for giving that example of a sports team, whether it's soccer or football or something like that. We all enjoy it, without being concerned about the race of the players. And I think we can all enjoy studying the culture of ancient Egypt if we have that approach.
Yeah. And
So
so
yeah, I just
that's
wanted to give all of you credit on that.
well, I appreciate
I
that
really
because
like that point.
that's that connected with you, and I know that
Yeah,
a lot of people um who like football will probably connect with that example because football is very popular. Like in the United States, we call it soccer, and it's not that popular. You know, it's not as
yeah,
popular as elsewhere. And I know in the UK, especially and elsewhere, you got Barca, you got Arsenal, Liverpool, Man
yeah,
United, and all these
yeah,
teams.
Man City.
Yeah, and all these teams, people love it. Like man, like people champion soccer like how we do NFL football and stuff and everything.
People
So
commit suicide, like if
Yeah,
everywhere when the teams don't win, when the soccer team don't win, like you have Arsenal, Man U, all that stuff, you find people everywhere, especially also on the continent, people be committing suicide.
oh, 'cause, hey, that's taking it to the extreme right there, boy. But I noticed and what's interesting though, in that sport, they speak about players as if they're property because they say so and so was sold to this team, sold to that team. I'm like, what? And see, over here it sounds strange, but everybody I know that's into football, what we call soccer, that's normal for them to describe players moving from one team to the other like that. But over here, we don't say it like that. And so we gotta respect the views, and that's all that I was saying was that it's not about the skin color and stuff like that. We can study the culture without getting into that, and I think people who are stuck on the skin color will miss the culture. That's like me focusing on the color of the uniform and never enjoying the game. I'm like, man, the guy scored a goal, and I won't enjoy it because too busy worried about what uniform they wore,
yeah,
or the skin color and stuff.
at the end of the day, you don't get to participate in any way, you know.
Right.
It is, So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. And I don't want to be here for long because I don't want to change the topic because I know you guys said, you probably won't talk about it for, quite some time. But I
Oh
didn't
no,
get the
I'm
opportunity to
no,
actually,
I appreciate you coming through because
yeah,
based on what you saying, it give me a chance to kind of close out because it's 1 o'clock.
yeah,
So we about to shut it down. So I appreciate that though, and that's all I want people to say. I try to use as many examples though. So the soccer or football example will hit certain people, will resonate with certain people. But then like another example I give is with hip hop. Like a lot of us like hip hop music, and we love hip hop music, and I tell people that if you're not a crate digger or producer or really into the music part of hip hop, you will never know that a lot of a lot of famous hip hop songs that we like contain samples from white people's music. And I'm like, if you don't like white people,
Too true.
or
True.
if you hate white people all that much and stuff like that, then how is it that you could love hip hop or any hip hop song that has a sample from anything performed by a white person? You got Led Zeppelin, you got um, Bob James famously sampled. Uh, even Run DMC, the
You
boom,
got the
dun
Eagles.
dun.
Walk this way.
Oh, Walk This Way is apparent. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about
I think that's Aerosmith.
yeah, no, I'm talking about Peter Piper picked peppers, but Run Rock rhymes. Humpty Dumpty fell, whatever. That boom, down, boom, boom. That right there, all that Bob James right there. And I crate dig. So I could tell you a whole lot of songs
Yeah,
that,
you got Bobby Caldwell, Tupac, and Biggie example him.
man, it's a lot. It's a lot. But anyway, but my point though is that we play this game, and it's the feel good game. I understand it, but we got to get past it. And that's all I be trying to push the people to move forward. So but anyway, but listen, it's late. It's 1:10. And everybody who's watching, if you haven't subscribe. If you enjoyed the conversation or you feel like you learned something, whatever, give us a thumb up on the channel. Everybody talk about thumbing up the videos and stuff. Make sure you thumb up the video and everything. And then we'll be back. If y'all have recommendations for topics, put them in the comments under these videos. Hit us up on any one of us on Facebook. My name is the same everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, here, everything. Wujao. So nobody else has my name that I know of. So recommend topics. We'll go in on it. So we had a couple of mythbusters. So let me review them real quick. Ankh does not refer to 4 sets of the Ogdod. That's a myth. That's wrong. Don't believe that hype. Koresh doesn't mean Jesus Christ or the Messiah and whatnot. Oh yeah, so let me tell y'all, next time we're gonna break down the word more, how more does not mean the word mer doesn't mean more, or Tameri doesn't mean land of the Moors and stuff. We're supposed to do it tonight, but it's gotten too late. So that's another myth, but we'll deal with that next time. What was the other one that we dealt with? So Christ, the
noses.
Oh yeah, the noses being, that's crazy, because even if you were to go to the museum, there are many statues where the noses are intact, and then there's some that's not, and everything. So people want to believe that, then that's cool. If it make them feel good, hey, get them through the day. That's cool. What else? It was something
We
else.
had Imira for more as well, because the word more has been put on a lot of different words in a session anyway.
Yeah, Emira, the owl and the mouth glyph is the word Emira, not more or mer. So that's
that basically means boss or supervisor or something like that, right?
Exactly. Boss, supervisor, superintendent, overseer.
Yep. Management.
Yep. They say, I'm gonna escalate this to you. Can I see your manager? That's what we'd be saying. We say, can I see your Emira? Superintendent. Let me speak to the manager. That's who you be getting. I speak to the manager. So that's I thought it was something else. We did. Guess not. Anyway, so I appreciate anybody tuned in, and we're gonna keep this up and make sure, if you all are hearing claims being made that are questionable to you, bring them here. We'll address them if we know the answer. If we don't, we'll say we don't. We'll look into it. We can look into it together. All right, because this is the channel where people can definitely get the work, and we don't mind giving it to them. All right, so I'm gonna say Shimon Hotep, and I appreciate everybody on the panel. And listen, y'all who are listening on the chat, you gotta get in the habit of coming on the panel, because I like interaction. But all right, so I'm gonna say peace and good